What's going on, family? Peace and blessings, and welcome to What is the Time, a podcast about celestial timing, personal sovereignty, and living where the getting is good. I am ZamboniFunk. Thank you for coming here with me. I am your DJ for the affair where we be getting down and won't be coming up for air. This is going to be a fun time. Now, I have been working on this for a long time. I thought this was going to come out many months ago at this point, and it didn't work out, and I've had a lot of technical difficulties, and I'm not real good at playing the game that way. I'm good at being interviewed on podcasts, but not like doing all of the stuff that it takes to do all that. So it's been a bit of a delay here, and I've gone through some changes. And so I've changed the title of this podcast. It was going to be ZamboniFunk on the One in Time for a little while. That, of course, is a handful and a half. And so it was too much. And so we've come down, we've streamlined some things, we've made some things more complicated. We have it's been a whole process out here, but now it's time to be here. So I recorded the first couple of episodes a few months ago, and they will sound like it. So I might mention some things like the name and some other things like that will be a little bit out of the way, but by and large we should be good to go, and we are on. So thank you all so much for being here, and 4 months ago, Zamboni, let you know what's going on here. Thank you so much for being here. Now, I just want to let you know what's going on here. So, I am an herbalist and astrologer. I was working in New York City for a long time, and in that place, I learned a lot about herbs and herbalism, and I learned a lot about astrology, and I became a practicing astrologer there. And so you can still find on my website, you can get a reading from me, and I work with the stars to paint a picture of our time and to give us an idea of the moment where we are, to give us some context where we are in space and time. And I've come to a point in my career where I can no longer be pigeonholed by astrology. Astrology is one of my methods, is one of the things that I will use to generate the world around me. I've been so last year I gave a talk called Toward a Relational Metaphysics in the Era of Air. I spoke about the change over the move into air triplicity. So basically what this is the basic structure of reality can be described by Jupiter and Saturn conjunctions. We can think about Jupiter as being kind of like the breath of life, the thing that sort of like gives us a fullness and meaning. And we can think about Saturn as the one who gives us the structure and the bones of the thing. And these two, they conjoin every 20 years in signs of the same element or the same triplicity for a period of about 200 years. We just, at the end of 2020, had a Jupiter-Saturn conjunction in Aquarius, which is an air sign. This is the first one. This is beginning a 200-year cycle where we are going to now have Jupiter-Saturn conjunctions in air signs rather than earth signs, which we had been having for 200 years prior to this. So this looks like the basic structure of reality shifting. So I gave a much longer talk about this. Maybe I'll definitely link to this talk in show notes. Maybe I'll even put that talk on here on this podcast as a sort of general primer on where we are and how I am thinking with these times. But so the basic idea here is we're beginning a 200-year cycle. We're beginning a time period where we are literally in a new era. We are literally in the future, which we have been knowing for a long time, right? No, this is not news to anyone. But if it is true, then we have an unprecedented opportunity, or unprecedented in the last 200 years, to legitimately build a new future. So if we don't like the systems dynamics or the institutions or the world that we've been given for whatever reason. We were born into this world where there's a lot of ugly stuff. We can think about just the existence of trash in the first place is gross, right? And so we can, if we are, or whatever, you know, all the isms and the list goes on, right? There are all these ugly things. We have an opportunity to build a more beautiful world. And so so with astrology, that gives us a good idea of where we are in time, and it gives us a good way to think with some symbols and metaphors and stories and things of this nature. But it's not enough to actually move toward generating that more beautiful world that our hearts know is possible. Shout out to Charles Eisenstein, who is not an astrologer. Shout out to all of, I have many teachers, and this is, so I do a lot of things as well. You know, I have Jupiter and Gemini in and that this is very like multiplicitous, has a lot of different talents and stuff. I do music primarily. Even all the music which is associated with this podcast is original music that I created. I either played a bunch of the instruments, or I wrote the tune or something like this. All of it is, you know, this is, so there, to my mind, to do music in this way resonates very strongly with what astrology is. So astrology is very much about the rhythmic cyclical timing of the cosmos, right? It's a very slow motion. Even our sort of like most basic motions take all day to happen. The sun comes up in the east, and then it takes 24 hours before the sun comes up in the east again. So that's one revolution, right? Rather than most of the songs that we listen to on the radio are around maybe 80 beats per minute, right? That's many times faster than 24 hours. But it's all kind of the same principle. It's very much about rhythmic cycles of timing. What I do, primarily as an astrologer, I do natal charts and things like this. But the main thing that I do really is elections. So I choose. So an election is a choice, right? It's a selection. You can choose between this or that time in astrology. And so you can choose to start something at an auspicious time, at a time where the stars are nice, when good things are, or when things are sort of like nourished or become more. And so or you can use electional astrology for lots of things. That's just usually what I end up doing it for, because I want to like build my business and career and build love and connection and harmony and these kinds of things. But if you want to do a breakup, for example, which I've also done, then you can elect that. And you know, you can elect a time where the skies ordain splitting or conflict or difficulty or something like that. And it works just as well. And so my whole thing with astrology is showing up on time. At the same time, the way that I do music is very much about timing. My harmonic game is cool, you know, like I'm all right with the like basic music theory. I have very basic music theory knowledge, but I arrange patterns to happen in a rhythmically cyclical timing way that is funky as shit. And it's funky because of the timing. And so it's very much the same process, right? The thing, if you really feel the music and you know where the groove is going, then you can put your booty in just the right spot to hit when the sound hits you, right? By the same token, if you know where the stars are going to be, if you know where what the landscape of time looks like, then you can put your booty in just the right spot, right? And so this is what I am here to do as an astrologer, and this is what the ZamboniFunk enterprise seeks to do, is to make the wisdom of the stars actionable, or the signs of the stars actionable to everyday people. So if we know that we are beginning a new time period, we live in the future now, and we have an opportunity to create the more beautiful world that our hearts know is possible for the descendants that are going to come after us, then what do we need to know? What do we need to think with? What are some ways of being in the world that can maybe improve on where we live right now? How do we actually generate that world? And the way that I have found to do that is by being personally sovereign in my own space. So, this. I take responsibility for myself. I take responsibility for my actions and my thoughts and my words, as well as taking responsibility for the work that I create. And I work diligently to generate good quality in all of these things. And you're welcome to check me at the times when I'm showing up with whack quality, and I welcome that, definitely, even though it will also hurt my feelings, and I reserve the right to have hurt feelings. That's part of the thing. That's where we are in the world. And so here I am doing this thing, just trying to have some conversations with some people and talk through some ideas that maybe we can think with as ways to move forward. So it's going to be an adventure. We're going to get into some weird spaces. We're going to get into some tough stuff. It's going to be kind of tough sometimes. There will be explicit astrology sometimes, and as is my custom, I'll do my best to sort of explain that for the lay person, someone who doesn't necessarily understand astrology. But because astrology is so important to the way that I operate and the way that I think about time, then that's going to be an important thing, and it's gonna show up. So, but it's not. But it's important to remember that this is not an astrology show. This is not this is not the astrology podcast with Chris Brennan, where we're going to talk about only Jupiter and Saturn and stuff like that, right? We're not going to do that. There's going to be a bunch of philosophy here, and there's going to be musicians on, and there's going to be, lots of different. It's a diverse array of ways to be on the one and time. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you to the ancestors for making this possible. Thank you to the descendants for coming after this, because I know that you are also making the world beautiful. It's not just me. And thank you all for being in community. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I look forward to the beautiful beautiful world that our hearts know is possible, that we are here to create. Blessings and love.